Hi, everyone. I'm here with my good friend Kevin at AHB, and today we're going to talk a little bit about resistance welding versus MIG welding. And Kevin's going to take the lead on here.
I'll be honest, I know quite a bit about MIG welding and TIG welding, but I am relatively new to resistance welding. So a little 101, if you don't mind, would help a lot.
You know, we can do a quick introduction to it. So resistance welding is a science of attaching metal. And one of the really strong points is it's the fastest way to attach sheet metal to sheet metal without any gases or fillers. It's a very, very fast process that happens, and it's used in many sheet metal applications.
Okay, awesome. So a couple things like if I'm spending a lot of time MIG welding nuts on, that's a common one we come into across all the time. I'm welding nuts, and my guy's spending a lot of time on it, and I'd love to free him up to go do something else.
Okay.
Any differences on that? I mean, is it much faster? Is it as strong? What kind of things are we dealing with on that?
I think you'd be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
One of the things about resistance welding weld nuts on is that it's about 90% faster than MIG welding.
Oh, wow. Okay.
If you look at the process of MIG welding, typically the operator has a nut. He needs to put it on something. He runs a bolt into it, gets it aligned, takes a MIG welding torch and welds it, takes the bolt out, and he might have to clean it up a little bit or not. Okay.
Usually.
Resistance welding, you simply take the part, put a nut on it, hit your foot pedal, the welder comes down, welds it, and you're done. Typically, it is 90% faster to do that.
And it seems like maybe you might not need as much skill in order to do that as well, because welding in circles is not always easy. So,
so that could be a huge cost saving. The other thing is we need to look at the application, because not every nut is designed to be resistance welded. You need special weld nuts to do that.
Oh, okay. So I can't just use the normal nut. I use a different nut.
You would use a different nut with projections on it, so it can be projection welded. But the good news is a lot of people want to buy a special nut welding machine. Pretty much any press type welder can be a nut welding machine.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. We can dive into that some more.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. One of the other things I like to talk about in this is, when do you know to MIG weld it and when do you know to resistance weld it?
Right. That would be my biggest question is, how do I know? If I'm looking at a project, which way should I be leaning?
Great question. So resistance welding predominantly goes into sheet metal, filing cabinets, car part fenders, refrigerators, barbecue grills. Between, call it 7, 8, 9, and 10 gauge, where you could resistance weld it or you could MIG weld it, and that's application driven.
Okay.
If there's a high strength requirement, it needs to be MIG welded. If there's a welded together and there's not a high strength or vibration requirement, you can resistance weld it. Resistance welding tends to take over from 12 gauge and thinner, and it's used in industry throughout today.
Right, and it's much more efficient as far as a time standpoint.
Oh my
it's
gosh.
going to take me a fraction of the time because everybody welds differently, especially on wire welding, MIG welding. Some guys are flying, some guys are crawling. Either way, even if you're flying, it still takes some time to get around that circumference. So I'm going to guess that I can probably get a lot more parts out.
Oh my gosh, yes. And remember, there's no gas, there's no fill of material, and it's many, many times faster than MIG welding.
I'm also saving money on all of the consumables as well, as far as replacing the wearable items and everything. Okay. Wow.
So the pros and cons with MIG welding and resistance welding. Remember, here at AHB, we make great spot welds. So if you have any application questions, equipment questions, or just general service questions, please don't hesitate to get a hold of somebody at AHB. Okay?
Thank you.
Great job.
Oh.
It's